Hey guys, you're back. I'm back. It's great to have you back here on my Corvette vlog. Man, we've been busy these last couple of days, and our whole gist of going down to the National Corvette Museum, besides seeing all of our Corvette friends and family, was to cover the event where GM kind of recaps the 2017 Corvette kind of year to date right now, and then gives us an idea, a little projection of what's coming up for 2018 with the plant shutdown, some of the changes, the special edition cars, and all that. So this video here is not a it's not a vlog per se, but it is that whole presentation that GM made. I want to share that with you so you get an idea of current market, what is going on with Corvette. And then this is just one of many videos to come of our coverage from the recent Bash event at the National Corvette Museum. So welcome, and thanks again for being here. Let's see if we're ready to go. Holy moly! We've got this. What is that? Show you guys later. Hey, if you're gonna drive an American sports car, you're gonna go to an American sports car event, well, you need to arrive like an American.
I'm one of the board of directors here at the National Corvette Museum. If you haven't seen my face before, it's because you haven't been here before, but been around a few years. But we're here to talk about our favorite subject this morning, and we've got the top of the line to talk about it, the 2018 Corvette. How many of you were inspired to buy a 2018 Corvette now? How many of you do think you'll be inspired to buy a 2018 Corvette after you hear them talk? There you go. Okay. You have your job cut out, guys. All right. I'd like to introduce Taz Jugter. He's the chief engineer of Corvette. Harlan Charles, the product manager of Corvette, and Ryan Bond, the interior design director. Gentlemen.
Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me okay? Some of you know my wife, Mary. She's still back at the hotel, and she said, "Why are they putting you on at 8:30? Nobody's going to show up." This might be the first time I'm right about something since we got married. So I hope somebody takes a picture of this crowd. Anyway, I hope it's not because you're expecting some gigantic reveal announcement. Here's Harlan. Anyway, seriously, I appreciate everybody getting up and coming in. We're going to run through some slides, basically do what we have been doing really for decades here at the museum at the Bash, talking about the year in review and talking about what's new for the upcoming year. And there's a lot of exciting things going on, a lot of things going on in the plant. It's kind of a renewal of Corvette. It's really exciting to see, and a lot of it's due to how well the car has been accepted by people like you and people really all around the world. So we're really appreciative of where the Corvette community has taken us. So I'm going to start with the year in review, starting from a little over a year ago when we introduced the Grand Sport. This is in Geneva, Switzerland. So we're truly an international brand, recognized all around the world. Decided to reveal the Grand Sport relatively early in the life cycle, and a lot of that had to do with customers like you guys, knowing that we did the Grand Sport on the 6th generation car, and really liking that combination, and basically asking for it from the moment we brought out the 7th generation car. And so we brought it out relatively early. Oliver Gavin and I did the honors in Geneva, and it was it was really fun because we kind of stole the show, and there's a lot of really premium cars introduced in Geneva. It's a very high-end show, a lot of very expensive cars, and there was a lot of like big all-new reveals there, and our little Grand Sport kind of took the thunder away from some very prestigious marques on their home turf. So that was very exciting to do, very exciting to see the reaction that we got. And then truly, you know, we spent a lot of last year introducing the car to media, letting them experience it. And I don't think I read one review that wasn't just glowing. People really liked the car. We did an organized event. We actually had Oliver back at the press event showing people how to drive and showing what the car could do. And then we let people have the car to put it up against whatever they wanted to put it up against. So Carbon Driver, you know, really liked the car. They talked about it being a sweet spot. And really, if you read all of these, it almost seems like this is the only Corvette to get. But they make it sound that way because it's really important to sell magazines and bring eyeballs to websites and stuff. So it's the latest and greatest thing, and we really believe it's the latest and greatest thing, but it's no disrespect to a Stingray or a Z06. Those are both awesome cars, appealing in a slightly different way to different customers. Road track, easy to go fast, but not in a passive way a GTR does, so kind of automated. This is no video game. The GTS is the Grand Sport GS. It's familiar and accessible in the right way. Top Gear, so internationally, this is the BBC, European Top Gear. What's it like to drive? Instantly fun. Should I buy one? Unreserved, yes. And that was kind of a conclusion, like a bottom line from a bunch of media. Next one, Ars Technica. Should you buy one? The answer we think is a resounding yes. So a lot of coaching out there helping us sell cars. Grand Sport, here's Road and Track. Jump up to the Grand Sport is absolutely worth it. And a lot of the feedback I get is the Grand Sport is a car that you never feel like you have too much car. It's got incredible chassis capability you can use on the road, and still enough horsepower to keep it really entertaining. Motor Trend, for a little more money than the base Stingray, you can have your dream Corvette that you can drive to the grocery store, a racetrack, a fancy restaurant, to a religious gathering of your choosing. Insert religion here. It can be your daily driver and your Sunday fun day car, need I say more. And we talk a lot in here about bandwidth, trying to make cars that can do a lot of different things well, so it can fit into a lot of different lifestyles. And a review like that warms our hearts because it means the journalists really appreciate what we're trying to do. Then you get down to the nuts and bolts, kind of the, you know, how did it really perform? Road and Track, Performance Car of the Year. They got all the hottest cars new to the market on track, and see what they can do with them. The Porsche 911 Turbo S, so that's not the Turbo, that's a Turbo S. That's a little more horsepower. That's about a $200,000 car. Beat us by 9/100ths of a second. That's all-wheel drive. Porsche obviously is an extremely capable car manufacturer, and we're way more than double the price. They beat us by 9/100ths of a second. And you can see the other, like the NSX guys, have to be really happy that their brand new car, supercar, came out behind us, along with the GTR Nismo. So that's the hottest GTR you can buy. So those are some cars with some real track cred, and our Grand Sport put them back in the pit. So really happy with that kind of performance. And part of that is because it is really easy to drive when you hand the keys to somebody, especially the media. You're never quite sure who's going to be driving it. And so it can be people of extremely high skill. Sometimes they bring in a hot shoe like Andy Pilgrim or somebody. Sometimes it's one of the editors, usually very capable drivers, but maybe not right at the leading edge. So if the car is a quick learn, beyond what it's ultimately capable of in a pro's hands. If it's a quick learn in a quick shot like this, you give somebody the keys, they take a bunch of cars to track. If it's easy, accessible performance, that ends up showing in the final results. Motor trend, head-to-head here, extremely competitive with the 911. So this is the best driving Corvette yet built, borderline magic, they call it. Only problem, this is great, I'm sure Porsche loved this too. The only problem is that I'd be daydreaming of driving the Grand Sport while I'm out grocery shopping in the Porsche. Just get the Grand Sport, it's easy. Which is the better sports car? The answer by almost a second in this was the Grand Sport, beating the 911 by 0.82 seconds. Here's Auto Guide Reader's Choice, another selection, Grand Sport sports car of the year. 10 best, we fell off 10 best for a brief period, and it almost never happens that, you know, because they love everything that's kind of shiny and new. It almost never happens that if you're on 10 best and you fall off, you get back on 10 best with essentially the same car. The Grand Sport was so compelling that it brought us back to 10 best at Car and Driver. And then same thing actually with Consumer Reports, recommended buy. I know a lot of people don't consult Consumer Reports when deciding to buy a Corvette, but it's nice to have kind of a mainstream media quality assessment organization put their stamp of approval on you. How many people saw this at the auto show this year? A few people? Okay, this is not a political gathering, so we're not going to talk politics. But just by coincidence, I was at the auto show, and you can tell it's a coincidence because I'm dressed like a slob and everybody else is really nicely dressed. I had no idea this was going to happen. I was actually down at the Detroit Auto Show for completely another meeting, and I noticed there was an unusual number of bomb-sniffing dogs walking around. You don't usually see a lot of German Shepherds at the auto show, but there was quite a few down there. And so I was kind of cruising around, actually was headed over, I wanted to look at the Ford GT and see if I could sit in it and see if it was real. And on my way over there, I happened to run into one of our communications guys, and he said, you know what's happening? I was like, no, what's happening? He goes, well, Joe Biden's coming over to check out Corvettes and other Chevrolets. And so I said, oh, that's cool. I said, can I watch? And he's like, yeah, stand over there, stand over there. And so there's a huge crowd because everybody knew he was coming. And Mark Royce, you can see over Joe's shoulder, showed up. And I was talking to him a little bit. I said, that's great, you're going to show Joe around. He goes, yeah, stick by me, I'll introduce you. And so I tried to do that, and as he got closer, he was coming from the Ford exhibit, and he was surrounded by about 250 media, and then layers of security, event police, Detroit police, Secret Service. These waves of security were kind of leading the way through the crowd. And I had no ID, I had no badging, I had no credentials, I didn't look like I belonged there. And so I'm trying to figure out how to get through the security and I'm trying to stand by the Corvette and hold my ground because I knew he was going to show up with the Corvette. And so I'm standing there and this giant cop comes up and says, sir, you have to move aside. And I didn't know what to say, so I just blurted out, I just said, well, I'm part of the show. And he goes, well, why didn't you just say so? So I thought, man, that's tight security for you. So anyway. So the whole crowd, you know, the media scrum headed this way, and Mark Royce saw me, kind of pulled me in, and we just started talking about the car, and then Joe got in the car, and Mark said, why don't you get in the other side? And so I jumped in the passenger side, we shut the doors, windows up, sealed out everybody else, and had about 5 minutes with the Vice President just to chat cars. And I've walked a lot of politicians around the auto show, and I have to say Joe was unique in my experience. He was a car guy first and a politician second. Usually the politicians they know where every camera is, they know the shot they want, they're positioning themselves, it's like a photo op. You know, I care about this, I care about the industry, you know, it comes off when you're like right there with them, it comes off kind of fake. Joe didn't care anything about any of that. He was going off script constantly, you know, he's supposed to go from here to there, he's like, forget you guys, I'm gonna stand here and talk to my buddies on Corvette. So really, really cool experience, and to me, he came off, you know, as basically one of us, a real car person. So I really enjoyed that, and he did say, you know, he was struggling with, I'm going to be out of office, I'm going to be able to actually drive myself, and I'm going to be chauffeured everywhere. He goes, what do I get? Do I get a Stingray? You know, because he has a Corvette. He has, I think it's a '67, if I remember right. And so he's like, oh, I'd really love to have another Stingray in the driveway. He goes, with this Grand Sport, this is so sweet. He goes, but I gotta drive the Z06, you know, I gotta check that out. So he was really struggling with his personal car decision and spending all the time with us, basically, to try to work that out in his head. So anyway, I offered my help at any time, you know, after he's out of office to get him into one. I haven't heard back from him though. I'm sure he's resting and relaxing after getting out of office. So suggestion up here is send them one of each. Well, we're not sending them anything. He can pay like all good red-blooded Americans. Anyway, and I hope you guys enjoyed the race season last year. You know, we certainly had our challenges. It's never easy. How many of you were at the race dinner last night? Did you guys go? Was it good? Yeah. Okay, so you heard from those guys. They probably showed you some similar things. I think they're going to be around today. You talked to them some more. Anyway, awesome effort as always. They leave it all on the field every year. And when you hear some of the stories behind the scenes and some of the things they had to overcome, you know, in the end, if you just kind of look at the highlights of the season, it make it look easy, but it's not easy by any means. And some of the struggles they go through to achieve the results for all of us is really, really impressive and inspiring. So that was last year. And then this year we're off to a pretty good start. Oh, I forgot to mention the 100 wins. Yeah, talk about an amazing milestone, getting to 100 wins. Most race programs are lucky to run in 100 races. You know, they usually don't last. You know, somebody gets the idea, let's go racing, it'll help promote the brand. They race for a couple of years and then it's discontinued. It's expensive, it's hard. It's hard to be consistently winning, and if you're not winning, why participate? So it's a tough sell, and so to be in it long enough, consistently enough, and as competitive as we've been for as long as we've been to 100 wins is really, really impressive. And then immediately we went 101, 102, 103. So I don't know if we'll make it to 200, at least not while I'm still at GM, but I'd love to see the successes they're having. So anyway, started off pretty decently this year, and it's going to be just like last year. It's going to be hand-to-hand combat all the way through the season. Challenges with the balance of performance, trying to figure out the best way to bring home the victories. But they're super inspired to do it for you guys, for us on the program, on the people side, and I couldn't be happier with the partnership that we have with Brad Miller and Corvette Racing. Okay, so that's kind of the highlights from the last year. I'm going to bring Harlan up next to talk a little bit about sales and some other information that's new. Harlan?
Part of the presentation where we get to look at all the numbers, and everybody likes that. So, but actually, you know, what Tad's talking about racing, you know, we compete at the showroom, I would say that, with all the cars that we race against and more, and this is the biggest victory we have, is being the #1 luxury sports car segment, you know, almost 40% market share, and the market's a little bit down from last year, but overall we're still dominating as usual. And outselling by far all the Porsche entries and everybody else. This is data. If you see, we got Wendy Miller here as she puts together all this data for us. Does a good job. This is looking at, this is as of pretty much at now April 4th. So we're getting close to all the orders in for 2017. And you can see the new Grand Sport was 38% of the total Corvette, did really well. That's probably about what we thought, so we're really happy with that. And you can see the Z06 had a little bit of a later start, but still rebounded very strong on the Z06. And you can see, it's kind of as you expect as we go up from Stingray to Grand Sport to Z06, you see the different trim levels, 1, 2, 3. It seems to go up as you go up, so it kind of makes sense. This is some of the Stingray data. You can see the 8-speed automatic transmission, paddle shift, over 80%. So it's really keeps going up and up. And the chassis, we actually have 4 different possible chassis with the Stingray. You have the standard, you have magnetic ride, you have Z51, and Z51 with magnetic ride. And actually, as of now, the standard chassis is the most popular. A lot of people get the performance exhaust, and red brakes are popular, and black wheels continue to be popular on all the Corvettes. You see on the Grand Sport, also almost 80%. 8-speed paddle shift. One of the cool things, again, red brakes, almost half of the cars got the red brake option. The Z15, that is our heritage package. Of course, the hash mark stripes and the interior package that goes together. About a third of the Grand Sports had the heritage package. That's pretty good. And about 20% got the center stripe too. So a lot of people having fun with all we're hoping when people would do that, all the different combinations and things we introduced, that people would really personalize their cars. Again, black wheels, also very popular. And then we get to the Z06, of course. Even on Z06, 71% 8-speed paddle shift, also very popular. About a third of the cars had the Z07 package. And then 18% of people are starting, you can get the ceramic brake package without the Z07. So that's gone up quite a bit as well. And colors are always fun to look at colors. Arctic White continues to be #1 for quite a while. But really, the new Watkins Glen Gray really did well. The second highest color. Of course, black and torch red are always mainstream colors too, very, very high. And the new Admiral Blue did well also. Interiors, of course, you can't go wrong with jet black, but the Adrenaline Red would be the #2 interior. Some more. Now this is like, you can look at this later, but we do put this data together. It's kind of fun to see all the interior, exterior combinations. Like let's just take, for example, like Ryan has a silver Stingray with Kalahari interior. So that was 9 cars, yellow brakes, so he's got a very rare car. But it's fun to look at the different combinations and see what they are. So we've got some rare ones, of course. Usually one of the more popular ones, of course, the white with the red interior is always pretty high, and things like that. So one of the things we were very proud of was the collector edition. We are pretty close to our limit of 1,000. This data goes up to 926. I think we're actually have orders in for I think we're 970 something as of now. So we're going to get pretty close to the 1,000. So this car, despite having a little bit of a late start in the year, it's been a big hit. We're really pleased with how it did. And you see, only of the 926 first ones, 150 were convertibles, so mostly coupes. And also you can see mostly towards the 8-speed and the competition seats, 266 out of 926. So we kind of keep some of the data, on the special editions too for everybody. All right, what's new for 2018? We'll have Taj kick this off.
Yeah, I wanted to give a little overview, just because of all the things that are going on. We've got a lot of moving pieces. The biggest deal, of course, is, we've announced previously that we have to bring the plant down to do a bunch of internal upgrades. Biggest one, of course, is the paint shop. You guys have been seeing the paint shop go up. It's massive. We're really excited about the facility. It's the first time we've gotten a paint shop essentially custom designed and built to Corvette specifications. So it's not a generic automotive paint shop. It's custom designed for our unique car, which has got a lot of things that are very unique about it. The way we process panels off. You know, we don't paint a car, we paint just a set of panels on a big fixture, and they're all composites. And so there's a lot of things that are very specific to painting composites to get really high quality that are very challenging, honestly. You don't want to bake them at very high temperatures like you can do metallic, aluminum, or steel panels. You want to bake them slowly, and that means you need to move through low temperature ovens, and you need to move, the ovens need to be really big because it takes a long time to get the panels through. So that's why the paint shop is as big as it is because it's really custom engineered to our requirements. We're going down between August and October, so 3 months, and the paint shop is just about done. But what's not done is all the connections inside the plant. We've been producing the current car in the old process exactly as it's been. And the new paint shop is like at the opposite end of the building as the old paint shop. Internally, to get all the panels to the line to put them on, you have to reorganize everything and get the conveyor set up to automatically deliver those panels. That's a huge job, and it can't be done like over a weekend or while the line is running. There's a bunch of moving pieces, and so it's a very complicated task, and that's why we're forced, we really don't want to, but we're forced to take the plant down for 3 months. So that has a big impact on the 2018 model year. We intend to start production in June, and we basically have to go down immediately in August. So really there's only a couple of months of production before we go down. So the last chance to order and get it built before the downtime is June 12th. So when Buzz was talking about getting excited about ordering a car, you know, if you decide you want one, you can't really wait unless you want to get a car very late in the year after the plant comes back up. So very complicated execution. The plant has their hands full tremendously to essentially take the plant down, reorganize it, and then bring it back up, producing the rest of the 2018 model year. So I wanted to give you a little bit of context around that before we get into, because that's probably, you know, on what we have, our to-do list, that's our biggest to-do list, is getting the plant converted and back up and running again. So we, you know, in spite of that, we still are bringing out some new stuff for 2018, and I'll bring Carlin back up to talk about it.
So 2018, we got a lot of course, we're going to go to the special edition, but we got a lot of little things that we've done, improvements. One of the things a lot of people have asked for on the Grand Sport to be able to get the ceramic brake package without having to go to the full CO7 package. So that's available for 18. On the Stingray, the magnetic ride is a standalone option. I'll explain that a little bit separately, but you can get the magnetic ride for a reduced price from what it was. We brought back HD radio. A lot of people remember we did have it in 2014. We weren't happy with the the reception and how that's doing, so we upgraded some of the antennas and everything like that. So we're able to bring back the HD radio feature. On the performance data recorder, how many people know about the performance data recorder? Oh, good. So performance data recorder is great. The basic onboard car data recorder is the same, but what we were able to do for the Cosworth toolbox is add a few extra channels. So for 18, you run the toolbox, you can get some cool things like all 4 individual wheel speeds, the suspension displacements, the yaw rate and intake, and ambient air temperatures. So if you can't live without that, you've got to get a 2018. Also, we've improved the rear view camera. It's better resolution, much improved. And the head-up display This is kind of an interesting one. Most people will never use this feature, but some people, you know, it's one of these things. Do you want the head-up display to line up to the world? Do you want to line up to the hood? We have people, you know, debating that. So if you feel it's a little bit off, you can now rotate it, make it however you like it. Really? Wow. We're awesome. So for 2018 Stingray, you know, we've done a lot. We haven't done a lot for the Stingray since it came out, you know, separately. And so this was a good year to upgrade the Stingray model, and we've done that. We've actually, the Stingray now comes standard with the 19-inch front, 20-inch rear wheels. Previously, you had to upgrade to Z51 to get. And the other thing we've done is we added a lot of more wheel options that I'll go to in a minute that you can get. So move up on that. Also in the Z06, we've added more wheel options. We've added an additional stripe color for the Grand Sport Heritage. And then we have our new color that you can see outside. We're going to talk about the ceramic matrix gray, which is a very light gray with a metallic with a blue highlights. And that replaces the sterling blue color from 2017. And then we also have the Spice Red convertible top, which used to be only packaged with that interior as a top color that you can just get as an option. So getting back to the Stingray, so on any Stingray, even without Z51, you can get, of course you get the standard sterling silver, but now we have all these wheel choices that you can get. So we think it's kind of exciting, you know, for not, for kind of not a high price, you can get a really neat looking Stingray with special wheels. Of course we have the black machine, the chrome, we have red stripe and yellow stripe. We have some of those outside. We have the Torque design wheels that get available from the factory, and the Motorsport design wheels available from the factory. So you just check the box and get these now on any Stingray. On the Grand Sport, and we continue with the 5 wheel options. And then on the Z06, we've added red stripe. We added for 17. You can get the yellow stripe wheel, and then you can get the pearl nickel blade wheel as well from the factory. Again, these are our 10 colors available. You can see at the bottom is the new ceramic matrix gray. Okay, and we got Ryan here, so I'll let him go over all the new interior changes.
Thank you, Harlan. Good morning, everybody. I'll go through with you all the things that are new in interior world for model year 18. So this is kind of an overview of what's going on, and I'll take you through the details. One thing that changes is the color breakup on a 2LT. So you can see in this schematic that kind of purple color shows where the contrasting color is on all of our different interior breakups, which we have quite a few of. And what we're trying to do is make things actually simpler and more consistent. So currently, and I'm just taking Adrenaline Red as an example, but it works the same with all the contrasting colors. From model year 14 to 17, if you got a 2LT Stingray, or in this case a Grand Sport, you get the Adrenaline Red seats and contrasting Adrenaline Red armrests on the doors and console. For model year 18, the Batwing, the driver's side cockpit shape, also goes in that contrasting color. So this is how the Z06 worked, and now we're making the other cars, the Stingray and the Grand Sport, consistent with that. So it'll make it a lot more simple. The color walk up as you go from like a 1 to a 2 to a 3 now works the same across all 3 models. The accent stitch packages are being enhanced for model year 18. So in this case, on the leather car, so black leather, you can get an accent stitch package, and of course the gray, red, yellow, and now blue. So you can get a blue accent stitch package. The paddles on the steering wheel are still red or yellow if you get the red or yellow stitch package. This also comes with the FAY low gloss carbon fiber trim on the IP. And the black suede packages are enhanced as well. So this is a black leather interior with black suede on the seat inserts, the door armrests, and those cockpit shapes on the instrument panel and doors. And that now comes in the same selection of stitch colors. So gray, which we had before, now red, yellow, and the blue stitch. Paddles matched with the red and yellow stitch. And this also comes with the carbon fiber steering wheel. So this is a new feature for model year 18. We've got a carbon 360-degree wrapped carbon fiber rim on the steering wheel. So the upper and lower segments are fully carbon fiber. It's in high gloss, and so this package comes with the FCC high gloss carbon fiber IP trim as well as bundled together. So this is a detail showing that interior in each of the stitch colors. So the gray, the red, yellow paddles, and the blue. And the carbon fiber wheel is a really neat feature. It has a very kind of exotic, sporty look to it. It also comes in suede, by the way, so you've got kind of that high gloss carbon and the low gloss suede with the accent stitch color on it. Looks really cool. And with that, we'll hand it back to Martha.
Everybody know what this is? 65 years of Corvettes on one slide. So 2018 is our 65th year. So we were thinking, 65 anniversary, like 25th was like silver, 50th is gold. Like, what is 65? We didn't really know, so we decided just to decree that the 65th anniversary of Corvette is the carbon fiber anniversary. So that's why we did the carbon 65 edition. So the carbon 65 edition, the code for that is Z30. We don't have a code. And it's going to be available. It's available for start of production. And you see, everybody's seen the cars here that we've had. Almost everybody. So you can get it on a Z06, 3LZ Cooper convertible, or a Grand Sport 3LT Cooper convertible. So you get on either of those cars. And it has the new color. Now, it isn't limited to, it has its own VIN. We're going to have our own VIN to count these, and interior black to count these. And it is limited to 650 globally, so it's a very limited production. So it'll be around 450 for the US and 200 export-ish, around there. It does have unique graphics. It has unique wheels with a machine groove. Calipers, and we put basically all the carbon fiber options that we have today and created some new ones as well. So you get the carbon fiber hood, carbon fiber ground effects, carbon fiber interior, the steering wheel like Ryan talked about. And then we have for new that we haven't done before, we have a carbon fiber spoiler on these cars and carbon fiber rear quarter intakes, which is new. And we have the interior with the summary. Here's some of the shots that we released recently of the cars. Z06 Coupe. And the two that we have here, these are the only two that exist as of right now. We have a Z06 Coupe, and the only real options are you get the transmission and the Z07 package is an option, or ceramic brake option. Otherwise, it comes with everything else. And then we have the Grand Sport convertible here as well. Here's the Grand Sport convertible. Now these are, Kirk Bennett will be here later, our exterior design manager. These are some of his early sketches they put together. And this is the Grand Sport version. And you see, this is his early sketches deciding, how to do the graphics. And one of the neat graphics too, it's kind of subtle, but I think a lot of people will like it on the coupe. You can see the graphic with the gloss black. It connects the carbon fiber roof to the rear window. It kind of creates that graphic. I think it really gives it a nice look as well. And here's the Z06 version. Again, wheels. The Grand Sport gets cup wheels with a machine groove, and the Z06 version gets what we call the blade wheels. Again, black with machine groove. They're special sill blades. Those are for the first time we have these carbon fiber quarter ducts. We have the blue brakes and accents, which brings out the blue highlights in the color, and the carbon logo on the wheel caps. course, fender graphics and the new carbon rear spoiler. Okay, let's get right back to talk about the Carbon 65 interior.
Okay, a lot of handles. So the Carbon 65, as Harlan said, obviously the emphasis on carbon fiber, it's a very, it gives the car kind of a very serious feel to it. So we used the black leather, black suede interior for this car. So the suede breakup with the suede cockpit seats, it's got the competition seats in it as well, and the blue stitch to tie into the exterior stripe color. So we've also got the carbon fiber rim steering wheel with the blue stitching, suede wheel, the FCC high gloss carbon fiber IP trim as well, because the wheels are high gloss, so they have to match. The new combination of black leather, black suede, and the blue stitch. And we've got IP plaques as well. One of the things that we're doing here that we're trying to get a little bit better about is typically when we do a special edition, we do a special edition plaque for the IP, and then that's the identity of that plaque. So if you get a Grand Sport or if you get a Z06, you don't get a Grand Sport or a Z06 plaque, you get a special edition plaque. So in this case, we're combining them. So if you order a Grand Sport, you get a Grand Sport plaque, but it's carbon 65, so it has carbon 65 on it, and it's got the build number. So your build number out of 650 total. Same thing for Z06. So you can still get a if you order a Z06, you get a Z06 plaque, but it's a carbon 65 Z06 plaque. So you don't lose the identity of the vehicle. Another hand off back.
Okay, well, you guys can come back up, actually. That's kind of the end of our prepared presentation today, but I hope you can see, even though, we've got the paint shop going, a lot of renewal going, we're still trying to bring out new stuff for you all. Even though 65 to a lot of people means retirement age, for us it's a new beginning. We're just getting rolling, and we want to keep rolling and keep bringing out new stuff that'll keep the whole Corvette community alive and interested in our products. And so we'll be back again next year and for the foreseeable future, bringing new stuff to you. So that's it for today, but we're happy to take questions and answers. We've got quite a lot of time here. Be happy to entertain them. You guys can come up.
How long is it going to be before somebody asks a ZR1 question and you know they won't answer it? So let's see.
Hear me on this? All right, who's got the first question? You know what? We always start in the front. Let's start towards the back. Go ahead. Question is, can you update the PDR software? We get this question every year, and honestly, I don't know. And the answer is, as usual, no, sorry. Because a lot of times there's hardware and software that goes together, and so I've talked about this. We could decide we want everything to be back serviceable and not change the hardware, but it would limit the amount of improvement that we could make. And so in general, we say, you know what, we're not going to let back serviceability keep us from making the feature or the car as good as it can be. Okay. We don't have a question, we have a demand. The demand is that we never remove the manual transmission. And I assume you all own a current manual transmission. Thank you for your business. Would it be okay?
Pay attention.
I ask you a question. Would it be okay if the automatic became standard and we charged you an arm and a leg for a meeting?
Used to.
I'm getting a mixed response from that. For him, it's yes. Okay. All right, but we hear you. Okay, another question. Janet? giant new building over there, and the question is, what percentage of it is paint shop? And the answer is 100. 100%. You don't believe me, you're laughing at me, but would I lie to you?
Yes. Yes.
In this case, I'm not lying to you. It is 100% of paint shop, and we will have videos, actually, video tours, and we hope long-term, for the first time, public tours. When we get the tours going again, the paint shop's online, up and running, we haven't thought about it. It's the only time in history, GM history, said, you know, what if we could bring people who are touring the plant through the paint shop? Typically, you can't do that because it's a clean room environment. You have to undergo a bunch of testing. You can't use deodorant. There's all sorts of things. You cannot go in the paint shop without all sorts of unusual prep. So it's a closed area. But we have tried to orchestrate places where you can peek in and windows where you can look in and see it. So we're hoping to show that. But like I said, it's because it's custom designed for composite panels. The paint ovens are enormously long, just incredible. And we space the panels out on what we call a scuff. That's the fixture that holds all the panels in position for the robots to paint. It's as big as a Suburban. So you essentially have a Suburban going through the paint shop very slowly, and it's going through at low temperatures because that doesn't disturb the composite. So believe it or not, I know people probably won't believe me, but it's true. The paint shop, what you see, that whole building is all dedicated to paint. I believe you. Alan believes me. He's been there. We've walked through it. It's true. All dedicated to paint. Okay, way in the back here. Next question. Question was, how far away is the C8? It's definitely in the future. So, just keep coming to the bash year after year after year, and eventually there'll be a C8 we can talk about. Okay. You asked a question already. Oh, we're right behind you, back there. I couldn't hear.
Is the ZR1 only going to be flooded and also the size of the wall?
So it's another question about future product. He's asking about ZR1. Obviously, we can't talk about any future product, any future models. We're talking about 2018 today. And like I say, just keep coming back here. And if we do have things to announce, we'll talk about them in detail here. Way back.
Quick.
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know where you point to. Was there a specific reason to get rid of the 18 and 19-inch wheels for Stingray? I thought it was a great looking wheel. It gave us a little more diversity in the brand and a different ride quality, and you know, just kind of expanded everything. I think we're narrowing it a little bit with that wheel. I didn't know if there was a reason to change that or just simply to change the aesthetics.
I think the question was around why did we get rid of the 18 and 19?
We found that, you know, early on, you know, that everybody loved the larger wheels on the Corvette. We just thought it would be a great way to upgrade the Stingray. You know, we've been out for, it's our 5th year now. We want to really upgrade the appearance and make it a little bit more affordable for people to get a car that doesn't look like a base car, that looks like an upper car standard.
And honestly, my father's an example of this. He bought a Z51 not because he was going to track it, because he wanted the big wheels. So, you know, he could get whatever he wanted. He just liked the big wheels. So now he has all the other content that he doesn't need as part of Z51. He's got more aggressive brakes, so more brake dust. So he's trading one problem for another. He'd much rather have what we're now offering, big wheels, but the standard brakes. So really it's customer pull.
And you know how much extra it costs? $45.
$45.
We'll get to you, George. Okay, in the blue now.
Is the plan to produce all 650 carbon cars before the shutdown?
You're going to have to step up into the aisle for us to hear you.
Is the plan to produce all 650 of the carbon cars before the shutdown? Or are you going to do some before and some after?
The question is, the Carbon 65, are we going to produce them all before the shutdown? We'll produce them to order.
If we get enough orders, enough customers who want it before shutdown, we can produce it before shutdown, but we'll be able to continue producing it after shutdown if people still want it.
I don't think so. I think it won't be, we won't go ahead, most likely.
Yeah, most likely.
There'll be a good portion. We want to get as many as we can before, but there'll be some after.
Go ahead. We usually don't try to predict volumes. You know, it's a losing battle. Sometimes we make more than we expect, sometimes less. You know, the plant's essentially rated at the capacity that we've been producing, but we can fluctuate up and down to meet market demand, whatever that is. Typically at this time in the program, you know, we reintroduce the car in 14. Now we're starting our 18th, so 5th model year. You typically see a product like the Corvette, you know, it's very hot for a few years. You see the volume taper off. So we plan for that kind of volume decay. It's not really a big deal. The question was also about, are we delaying new models because of the shutdown? The answer to that is no. We are trying to make sure that the plant has a minimum amount of churn while they go through this process. So changing the car like during model year 18, like right before the shutdown and right after, we're not doing much of that. But there would not be a change in major model reveals or delivery or anything because of that. Okay. Question is 100 octane cal available for Grand Sport. I do not believe we have any plans to do that. It's not really necessary. George, you have a question? He's asking about you want a DCT manual transmission? You just want a DCT. Why do you want it? Sophistication of different. Well, this car, you know, we got the two transmission choices. We're really lucky. You know, you asked the question about the manual before. Many people are walking away from that and just offering a single transmission. We're happy that we can do the 7-speed manual, the 8-speed automatic. Typically doing an all-new transmission. There's not a DCT that exists in the world that will plug and play into this car. Can't take the power, can't take the torque, won't fit in the package. And, you know, we can't do a unique transmission just for Corvette. Other questions? Yeah, the white back here.
This is the C7R influenced the design of the car.
Something about C7 on the race car, or
the race car. How much does that influence the design of the new car?
Oh, okay. Well, when we introduced the Stingray, we talked a lot about that. How the C6R introduced or generated a lot of ideas on design innovations, and that's why we have like the rear quarter ducts and the diff and transpooler in the back, whereas they'd always been in the front. And we have the pathway that goes through the top of the quarter and out the back of the car. So we're always looking to take the race car solutions and see if we can apply them. It really goes both ways. We try to make a better street car that's more applicable, a better starting point for the race car. So now that the C7R is out there, and has been out there for a few years, we're staying really, really tight with the race team to see what of any of the technology advancements they're using we can apply to future Corvette models. So that's kind of an ongoing thing. If you hear Doug Feehan talking about it, he talks about it as cascade engineering. Race car helps street car get better, better street cars, better starting point for a race car. That race car is more competitive, makes more advancements, which then goes right back to the street car. We've been doing that now for generations of Corvette, and it's going to continue. Yes, sir. Questions about the 10-speed automatic that's recently been introduced in the Camaro. That transmission does not fit in a Corvette. That transmission was basically a paper study when we were starting the development work on the 7th generation car. And so none of the Corvette requirements, which the main ones are around packaging,
were applied to that transmission, and so we don't see that transmission going into the Corvette. And in fact, 8 speeds is a lot. When I first started, we had our 4-speed automatic, and everybody thought that was awesome. And then we went to the 6-speed, and honestly, in engineering, we thought, wow, 6 speeds. We're never going to want more than 6 speeds. You got a really flexible engine, it's got a lot of low-end torque. There's a point where the car spends all its time shifting and not driving. And so we're getting to the point, and people are talking crazy numbers of transmission speeds, and it eventually evolves into not a technical requirement, but a marketing one. It's one-upmanship. It's your transmission have 4 gears in mind. So there comes a point of diminishing returns in terms of number of ratios in the transmission. And more ratios means bigger box, more money, more complicated, more mass. So there's some downsides to that escalation as well. What, any more in the back? Yes, ma'am. Question is about accident prevention technology. Okay, you see a lot about autonomous. It's starting to take the responsibility of driving away from the driver. There's a big move afoot. You know, people are doing adaptive cruise control now, and you know, lane assist and all this stuff that essentially reduces the workload for the driver, so you can spend more time texting. And so we're kind of the antithesis of that. We assume you buy this car because you enjoy driving it, and so we try to provide all the information you need as the driver to do the right thing. You know, we have heard requests. We brought the car out for side blind zone because other Chevrolet products have it. We've thought about that. It's really hard in this architecture because we have big heat exchangers in the back rear quarters where the sensors go. And so we take that input in, and we're not going to be the people who, you know, are moving as far to the extreme of taking the driving responsibility out of the driver's hands. But we'll put, you know, we put a lot of safety consideration in the Corvette, everything that has to do with your safety and accidents. We've got a lot of safety features, and actually inside General Motors, Corvette's not exempt from all the extra, you know, not federal, not global requirements, but General Motors has its own safety standards that are much, much higher than what's legally required, and all of those get applied to Corvette as well. So I hope that answers your question. Thanks. Okay, here. Go to you next. Come back to Sorry, I didn't hear. One of the options mentioned the gas guzzler tax. I'm not quite sure.
There's a Z06 with the 8-speed automatic. That's the gas guzzler tax. That's all it is. That's the only one that gets a bill. What are the other Corvette models get? And it doesn't sound like it should be. It's a weird thing. It doesn't sound like it should be an option. If it's an option, I would just pick no. I don't want it. So it's not really an option, but it's something they make us list that, you know, that option on the option list. There you go.
Okay, let's come back to you now. Actually, all C7 Corvettes with manuals have paddles on the steering wheels, and that's to actuate the rev matching. It's a system that flips the throttle for you. It matches the engine speed to your road speed. It actually is either on downshifts or upshifts. So some people don't want the car doing that for them. They want a traditional 3-pedal manual, way it's always been. You're responsible for matching the engine revs to your road speed. So that's the default. That's the way the car starts. But if you want it to rev match, and there's times, even on the racetrack, where you may really be desperate to have a really clean downshift, and that system gives you that without the driver being responsible. So even our best drivers now at GM who spend their lives on track with manual transmissions, they're the best heel towers you ever saw. They use the rev matching now on track. So those paddles Because if you drive it on the street, there's times where you just like to drive it yourself, and other times where it's handy to have a rev match feature. Like when I drive manual, I find that I'm turning it on and off depending on the traffic situation. And so that's why we made it very convenient and put it right on the steering wheel. Yeah, it's not tied to it. It's always there. It's always accessible. You can do it no matter what other mode the car is in. Yes, sir. You want to talk to that?
Yeah, how many people saw Conti's presentation yesterday? A lot of people. I can't do it as well as he did, but to summarize, he went over a lot of information on how, because of the new paint job, like that would say the plant, it says a lot of rearrangement, the general assembly, the body area, he's talking about how it goes, and he basically says, as we're rearranging all this stuff, we're not really mapping out the ideal plant tour route yet. So it's just, with all those changes happening, you could give us a time, you don't have a time that yet when we'd be able to resume those type of activities. So, yeah, so unfortunately we don't have for 18 we don't have the tours, we don't have the engine build program as well. We do still have museum delivery though, so we're still doing museum delivery.
And the bottom line is, we know people really like to tour, to make tours to the national destination in all of Kentucky, even people who don't know or care that much about Corvettes that like to come into a manufacturing facility like that. So it is really popular, and we know there's a lot of pressure. It's really, we'll bring it back as soon as we can, but safety, the job one is getting the plant rearranged, getting the car in production, doing what that plant has to do. Another consideration is safety of the tours. Like Harlan was saying, you've got a bunch of moving equipment around, a lot of uncertainty as to what's going to happen when. So we want to get back to tours. It's just not the highest priority. We don't want to pretend like it's going to be really quick, that as soon as we bring the plant back up that people can walk through. So that's why we put that date out there. Other questions? Question is, why doesn't what we call it latch over an ignition cycle? Why doesn't weather mode latch? We consider weather a somewhat unusual mode. I've been here at the birthday bash, and as soon as it rains, everybody takes off and finds a place for their car. They don't want to leave it out in the rain. So we typically don't expect customers to spend a lot of time in bad weather, and so we don't want to really have the car compromised the way it's compromised in weather mode with people not really thinking about it. So we consider it a low use case. That's what we call a low use case mode, and that's why we revert to something that's more traditional, more standard. Yes, sir. Are you asking if blue calipers will be available as like a free flow option choice?
Yeah, the blue calipers are really specially for this Carbon 65 special edition right now, so they're not available as a free flow. It's not as special as that car this year.
How many people would check the box for blue calipers if they could free express? I'm glad you would. Anybody else? Seriously? Seriously? Okay, we got a scattering of hands. Okay, so that'd be your favorite. The people raise their hand. It's not that you think blue would be nice. It would be better than the other choices that we have. Okay. All right. Thanks. Well, we're always looking for customer feedback. So, that's why we come to events like this, is to hear you guys and try to do, we can't do everything for everybody. It's way too complicated, but when we have kind of a critical mass of people requesting something, we really try to make that happen. Yes, sir. The question is, have we Do we feel intimidated by Chrysler's horsepower numbers? Yeah, it looks like, you know, Chrysler discontinued the Viper, and now it looks like they're looking for a different avenue to make headlines, and so they're headed to the drag strip. You know, first the Hellcat, now the Demon. When we talk about a car that comes out that has the capability, the horsepower, it's what we talk about is what comes out of the Bowling Green factory, not what you can accessorize. So the Demon that you hear about is, you know, the very impressive quarter-mile times and 840 horsepower. That's not what comes out of the factory. You have to buy aftermarket performance accessories to get that. So they're doing everything they can to get those headlines. And, you know, we try to do very well-rounded cars. So, you know, maybe we don't have the same horsepower numbers, partly honestly because we're a very small car. You just can't fit a big engine. The car would be very unbalanced if we put a big motor like that in the front. You also wouldn't be able to see out of it. The hood would have to be so high, you wouldn't be able to see anything. So we're trying to put well-rounded cars, and we don't really worry too much about what any other individual competitor has done. You know, if they put that motor in a Viper, you know, that was really competitive in other ways, that would probably make us stand up and take notice. But to put it in these big muscle cars, it's not really a competitor for us.
Yeah, I was at a track day about 3 weeks ago now with my Z51, and I spent way too much time stuck behind Hellcats. So they just do not, you know, they are set up for the drag, to Tad's point about being a well-rounded car. You know, they're set up for the drag strip, and that's about it. So doing anything else, even on the streets, or certainly on a track, on a road course, they're kind of out of their element, for sure.
I happened to be there at the time, and it was pretty comical to watch this guy who would not pull over lane, but he'd buy because he was the fastest in the straightaway. He'd get to the straightaway, he'd fly down, you know, tons of noise, and then he'd get to the next corner, and then there'd be a big parade behind him. Everybody would be lining up, waiting for him to get around the corner, and he'd sort of saw his way around the corner, and then wide open throttle, you know, the drag race. So yeah, it's a completely different kind of car. It really doesn't belong on any kind of road course track. It belongs on a drag strip. Okay. Yes, sir.
I think the question was the bid op where you can, yeah, that's available. That continues to be available. If you want a specific bin, you have to get it to us before obviously we build it. So yeah, that's still available for enrolling.
Question is, are we ever going to have a Corvette Experience Center? We're close to sitting in one right now. We have a track right across the way, and it's pretty cool. I think we're the only company in the world where you have a museum, an actual factory, and a track. So you can see that we're building something here. It's a long-term commitment. We don't have any specific plans around that Experience Center. They'd probably love to have you go to Spring Mountain. You know, that'd be an awesome way to experience the car. Go to Spring Mountain, get the driver training, you get to experience the Corvettes there on the racetrack. It's an awesome program. But right now we don't have any plans to set something like that up here.
Well, we have tried to do drive events at certain, we haven't done as much recently, but especially when the Stingray came out, we did quite a few special driving events to get people in. But I think it is a good thing that we have to expand on going forward is things, but they are expensive. But yeah, it's good.
I'd just say that there is actually quite a bit of work going on at GM regarding the overall customer experience for Corvette, and how do we make sure that we're really upping our game there. And we've seen things like the Porsche Experience Center. Would we be able to do something exactly like that? Don't really know, but it is something that we're looking at, and it really helps to hear that feedback directly, because it helps us go back and take that back and say, look, this is something customers really care about.
Okay. Okay, more questions? Question is, there's cars going around the Nürburgring. You are right.
Nice try. Nice try.
Yes, back here. I think the question is, does the new paint shop offer more flexibility in terms of the kind of colors, the options? I don't think we've announced anything yet, but we're trying to put in place you know, more premium process there that would let us do something more special than we're doing now. We don't have anything to announce right now, but it'll depend a lot on customer pull, but the facility itself is capable of doing more than the current paint shop. Yes. Question is, could we do, this is actually related to the other one, so I'm asking about the brake tests that you get on performance brakes. It's universal, it's around the world, it's the state-of-the-art in brake pads. Doesn't matter if it's on a Porsche, an Audi, or anything. If you have high-performance brakes, you get dust, and that gets on the wheels. One easy solution is buy ceramics. You know, it's not cheap, but it does help tremendously with the dust. The whole world is working on that exact problem. You know, how do you do high-performance brake pads and not have as much dust? Unfortunately, regulators are also making it more challenging. I don't know if you guys know this, but several states have decreed that you can't use copper in brake pads. And so, you know, you don't think of copper seems to me to be benign, but they've decided they don't want to use copper in brake pads because it sloughs off as part of that dust, ends up in the water. I don't think we're a big source of that, but there are regulations now in the books where we have to take copper out, and copper is a pretty big component of brake pads. So this is an example of the kind of thing we face all the time, where we're trying to make the car better and better, and then some regulator somewhere in the world decides, well, we're going to take away something, an option for you to try to make cars better. It actually is a huge challenge to replace copper or find something else in brake pads and even keep the performance that we have. So brake pads are kind of a black art. There's a kind of a witch's brew of materials in there to get the performance that they have. And like I said, everybody around the world is trying to invent a better mousetrap on brake pads. So we recognize the issue. I'd love to not have to clean my wheels every day. And I'm driving cars with performance pads on.
Hey, it's one thing you mentioned that ceramic brakes really helps eliminate that problem. You know what? For a limited time, as of right now, there's actually a $5,000 discount on Corvettes with ceramic brakes. So either you know, the Z07 option or the Z06 with the J57 option. So if you're hurry and you're really interested in that, it's quite a good deal for that option.
It is. In fact, I think if you look across all manufacturers who offer ceramic brakes with that discount, it's the least expensive way to get into ceramic brakes in the world, which is a huge deal because it really is very, very high technology, and we don't have the smallest ceramic brakes. We have about the biggest ceramic brakes. We've got very nice size, very, very powerful, very capable brakes. Any more? Okay. Question is, have we done any research on inboard brakes? That would be a packaging nightmare for us. I know some race cars have used it, but the answer is no. It really, from a technical standpoint on a street car, really not practical. You can see our race car doesn't even do it. How about the back corner there?
Why doesn't the AFM work on idle?
The question is, why doesn't AFM work on idle? Because you would hate it. He's asking about AFM, so that's 4-cylinder mode, where 2 cylinders in each bank are operating. And we did look at that. And at that low engine speed, we idle way down at a little over 500 RPM. When you're running on only 4 cylinders, the shaking forces are so great, it just feels like the car is broken. So down the road at higher engine revs, it's pretty well balanced. But when you're getting so few firing pulses at idle, it doesn't get you much fuel economy because we idle so low. If you want to make it halfway decent, 4-cylinder, you have to bump the idle speed up and you lose all your fuel economy benefit. So there really is not a benefit to it. Yes? It was a paint shop question, but I couldn't tell what the... Okay, that's related to the customization, paint to sample. Just curious, how many people would like to paint to sample? That means you provide a sample color and we paint it to match that color. How many people would like that?
A lot.
Okay. How many people would like it at $20,000? I think Porsche charges 10 or 12 or something to do that. It looks like all the hands went in. You're staying up? 4,000? How many at 4,000? Really? Okay.
5. Those are 5.
We're going to keep going up until we have one hand.
Harlan going for the sugar bump.
This is like Eric Jackson all of a sudden.
So I'd be curious, the people who raised their hand for custom color, what color do you want that we don't have? Gold. Orange. So some of you are talking about colors that we have had in our palette before. What'd you say? Full flame orange. Okay. And you can tell color is obviously a very polarizing choice. It's difficult to give everybody what they want. We spend a lot of time, and Ryan in the interior studio and in the exterior studio. It's extremely complicated to figure out, what are the best combinations in colors. We have tons of people that raise their hand at these events and say, green. I heard a couple people say green. Since I've been on Corvette, I think we've tried 3 or 4 greens. It's just bombed every time. Even where people said, oh, I love that color. In fact, we had a green when he introduced the C7, and it looked awesome. Green. And but the sales just dive to the point where, if at 1 or 2%, you're managing all the green parts. We paint a lot of them here in the paint shop, but we also buy a lot of them, so we have to keep things like mirrors in inventory, and it just doesn't pencil as a business case. So when colors taper off to 0, even though you might have a couple of people that are passionate about it, you just can't afford to keep it in the system. You're tying up, a big chunk of your paint capacity on a color that people hardly ever order. So, it's a difficult business situation for us. Maybe we should move on from color. Yes, sir. You're wondering about 5 years, what does our warranty data say about engine durability? What durability improvements? Actually, aside from supplier quality spills, just making the engine the same every time, there haven't really been a bunch of design changes. The small block is inherently robust engine. We build millions of them for trucks. We do a different version for Corvette. But many of the engines are processed the same way, they meet the same standards, so we have a unique ability because the Corvette pushes the performance edge and the high speed and the track capability, low stresses on the engine, and the truckers, they want high torque, long durability, towing capability. So the design team that has to put together the engine design has to consider those bookends of the use cases, we call them, the duty cycles. And so that bakes a lot of durability into the fundamental engine. That's why you see, we sell a lot of crate motors. You see Corvette engines being used in all sorts of applications, not even non-automotive. Somebody was telling me they were in Florida and there were some offshore boats and they had 3 LT4s mounted mounted vertically as outboard engines. You can imagine that, 3 LT4s were along the back of the boat, so they find applications in lots of places just because it's an extremely robust engine. Okay. Yes. Who was telling you that? You can put it in track mode. You want to make sure you're managing your shifts depending on the temperature, but yeah, you can put it in track mode. It just depends on the driver, the temperature, the track. There's a whole bunch of, it depends on the year. We made some upgrades this last year in the automatic on the, I assume you're talking C06. Oh, you are? Oh, C51? That hasn't been a big issue.
Who said that? Who told you? Name names.
Some guy. Okay, some guy said it. Did it overheat? Did it strike you down? Did you get a warning light or anything? But it didn't hit the red. So you were fine. Right here, it'll send you a warning. If it's overheated, it'll let you know. There'll be a message in the driver information center. The shift patterns are different. That's the main reason. But you can shift it. You can shift it manually and control it exactly how you want it. Yeah. Did you have fun on the track? Okay. All right, we'll go on. I do not. If we did, it would be as spectators. Yes, sir. Any news on what? 2018 pricing.
I told you, $45.
And he's not lying.
I'm not lying.
$45.
2018 went up $45.
Inflation. It's actually, that's, you know,
What's the line?
Across the line, $45. Yeah. So that's actually a lot lower than inflation, so we're glad to be able to hold the price point, not let it spiral out of control.
And that's going to go a long way towards our retirement funds, so thank you.
And the Carbon 65 is $15,000, which if you look at the actual content, there's a lot of very specific content. If you add up the individual prices of all that, you're actually getting a deal. More? Yes, sir? Okay, it's another future product question. Is this your first time here? We never talk about future product. All we talk about is today's product, and we can't talk about future product. It's actually, we're not just being jerks about it. It's in our employment contract. We are not, we can get fired for that.
I think we will keep improving the Corvette in the future.
Yes, we will admit to that. We'll keep improving it, and but, you know, like I said before, we're here to, you know, talk to you guys about what you think, where it needs the most improvement. So we go back to Michigan, we work on that. Yes, sir. Question is, will Corvette ever have stop-start technology? You can see that getting pervasive across the industry. I talked about regulations before and the push to get minimize CO2 regulations. For a lot of cars, start-stop is kind of no big deal. You can hardly hear the engine anyway, and so when it stops, you hardly notice. For engines with a lot of character, like ours, it's very disconcerting. We've built cars and tried it out, and it just feels like the engine stalled. I'd be curious, how many people think we should have start-stop on the road?
No.
So it's a mixed result. So, Porsche 911 has it. And I've driven the car, and it's, like I said, it's very disconcerting. Every time you come to a stop, the engine dies, and it's like, oh, what happened? Am I going to be able to pull away from the stoplight? So that's an example of where the herd is going that way. We're going to be trailing as far behind as we can. I'm not going to say never, 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 but we all fight the good fight to not do stuff that we know you guys would absolutely detest. So that's one threshold. If every customer would absolutely detest something, then we try to push back. Okay. Any other ways that the car would really make you hate it? Yes, sir. Well, I want to see. Start, stop was on the top of my list. I can't answer that. Yes, ma'am. It has the exact same control. It does.
What's the question?
Do you have a subject? Yeah. You don't have 8 ratings. All right. Make sure you check.
If you don't have it, you have an extremely valuable car. Because we're supposed to build one like that. It should be a mirror image, driver and passenger seat.
It's the same though, all even on one LT. The only thing on one LT you don't have the lumbar and the wings, but you still have 8-way power. Every Corvette seat has 8-way power, starting at 2014.
So find one of us, go back and check your car. We'll be here all weekend, and find one of us that you really seem to have that. We'd love to look at it. Okay, you're on the corner. Well, we have a Michelin here. Is Michelin still here?
Right here.
I talked to the Michelin guys about that. You want to answer the question?
I didn't hear it.
The question was, will we have all-season tires available for Z06 in 2018?
We're going to try to have some all-season tires for at the end of 2017. We'll have all-season tires for the Z06 and Sport side for the replacement markets for your car, 5 replacement markets.
So if I heard Lee right, end of this year, the wide body, so Grand Sport and Z06, there will be availability for Michelin.
And yes, in about a month or 2, we'll have the C6, Grand Sport, and Z06 available.
Okay, they're also going back to C6. Okay, in a month or 2, right?
Yes.
So this summer.
And this wasn't the
December.
This wasn't the exact question, but I drove all winter at the Z06. I drove like Z06 all winter up in Michigan with the Michelin Alpine tires, the winter tires. Awesome. No issues. Felt very confident. It worked great. So that's another option. Use those in the winter and switch back to cup tires for the summer. Yep.
Okay, we have a passionate plea for keeping engines in the front, at least on some models. Thank you very much. You agree? All right. In the back, yes. You stand up and ask that question? I think I heard you. You said you have the competition seats and you're saying even all the way up? Oh, you want them to go higher? Okay, I don't know. We might have in service like little blocks to take the whole seat up just a little bit. Not on top of the seat, but where the seat attaches to the floor. Can I ask you how tall you are? 5'2". We should double check and make sure, because I know a lot of ladies 5'2", and they can see fine. So if you wouldn't mind grabbing me at some point and showing me your car, I'd like to make sure that it is really going out like that. Any other questions? Yes. When does it get to bin? When the assembly process goes planned way early. I mean, we know the bin number from before the first part comes into the plant. Yes, we know what the bin is, so they're all built with the expectation. All the parts come from really all around the world, converge to that bin number. Our order system sends it out. The place the actual bin number is put on the car is about midway through the process. And that's point of no return. You can't back out of it from there. Yes, sir. Turn signal function in the side mirrors. So that's another example of something that a lot of cars have. I guess how many people would like that? Turn signal function in the side mirrors. So that's where it's called a side repeater, so you also get the flashing. The plus side is that, people up alongside of you can see it, you can see it. It makes the mirror a little bigger, it puts extra features, extra wiring going through the door. There's a bunch of downsides to it. We try to keep our mirrors as compact as they can be. That's why we have, uniquely, a lot of people don't do this, we uniquely have domestic mirrors, so mirrors sized for domestic usage, and then export mirrors that are quite a bit bigger. It's an example of the regulations in this country don't match the regulations around the world. And if you want to do one that meets both regulations, mirrors get really quite large. So we're always trying to keep the mirrors small. It's a relatively small car. You don't want these big, billboard mirrors on the side of it. It doesn't look good and you don't need them. So we try to keep the mirror very compact. It's good for aerodynamics too. Mirrors cause drag. They also cause noise. So them being small is a really good thing from the driver's perspective. But we have heard that from some folks, along with the side blinds on it, that would be a preference. Yes, sir. So that's the question is about putting the extra little mirror, like a wide angle view mirror, so you can see the blind spot. I'd be curious, that's got pluses and minuses. The plus is that you can see that. The downside is it's a little more complicated to read. You have to look at two different places, and some people find that extreme wide angle a little bit confusing on the face of the mirror. I'd be curious how many people would like that, because you can buy an aftermarket piece of it. So we got a few people, a few takers, okay. All right, thanks, that's good input. The light, yes. That's the side blind zone. Oh. Okay. Yes. Okay, there was an advertisement. Okay, well, I think we're getting close to winding up here. I see some people starting to trickle out. Maybe just one or two more questions. Yes, sir.
On the mercury mirror, the anti-glare film is on there. It doesn't go all the way to the edge. I wonder why.
you're talking about the EC mirror, electrochromatic mirror, and it's pretty much the same reason that your widescreen TV at home has a bezel around it. You actually have to, there's liquid crystals across the face of it, and you have to charge them. There's connections around the perimeter, so just like TVs, we're trying to make those thinner and smaller, but there still is a little bit of a band around there. Okay, last one. Yes, sir. Our current rear view camera, which we talked about, is upgraded. It's actually a pretty nice upgrade for this year, but its angle of view is focused on curves and it's down pretty low. The question, I don't know if everybody heard it, is could we have that operate on a racetrack? We have a prohibition on showing moving images while the car is driving forward. That's why it blanks out when you're going forward. You're talking about geofencing, so it'll only work when you're theoretically off-road. That's a fairly complex thing, and it's not really in keeping with the requirements that we operate under. We can't have moving images while you're driving forward for driver distraction reasons. That's General Motors. I think it's actually a legal requirement, but there's other people like Tesla who go ahead and do it. But that's an example of where they're doing something we think is actually kind of illegal, but they're selling it and it's not getting enforced on them. So, I think it's kind of a cool idea. I'd like to see it, but I can understand the driver distraction side of it too. Okay, well I think we got another group coming. I think the race team's coming in a little while. So I appreciate all you guys coming in. I really appreciate your questions.